All right. I see people starting to trickle in. Welcome, everybody. I'm Jeremiah Taylor, Vice President of Real Estate Mortgage here at Ojo Labs. We are very excited about our webinar today. We've got an amazing special guest going to drive a significant amount of value. And man, I am watching this participant count climb. We're at 65, 71, 74. Hey, as you all are coming in, welcome, welcome. I'm Jeremiah Taylor here at Ojo Labs. Pop open that chat window at the bottom of Zoom and tell us what part of the country are you joining from today. I'll kick us off. I am in Austin, not TC, but Austin, Texas. Drop in chat. Tell us where you're from. What part of the country are you signing in from today? We're over 100, 105. Steve, you attract quite the audience, my friend. I think we had over 500 agents registered for today's webinar. All right, Steve's here from Gilbert. Heller's here from Whitefish, nice. Montana. Let's see. Okay, in the Q&A. Oh, hey, Julie, the chat is disabled. People are typing in about that. Sorry, everybody. It says chat turned off. Look at that. We're professionals here at Ojo. We know how to run a webinar, I promise. That one was on me. Julie, let me know when you got chat re-enabled. Are we good? Can everybody chat now? Let's try this again. All right. Hey, by the way, we're up to 112 people. My name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm the Vice President of Real Estate Mortgage here at Ojo Labs. Welcome to our monthly masterclass. We have an amazing guest for you today. As you join, jump in chat. Tell us what part of the country you are joining from. Julie, can you not enable chat?
Looks like it's going to
I'm working on it. Just give me a second. Yeah.
Okay, we're working on enabling chat. So I'll call out the ones that are in Q&A right now. So we got North Carolina, Vancouver, Canada, St. Augustine, Florida. Patty, we got a Canadian here. We have Patty Cadu from our Canadian Ojo team. Canada, Ontario. Pilar Tobias is from California. Ron from Vancouver. Daniel in Dallas. Awesome. Sorry, gang, but we have the chat turned off. We're going to give it, we're at 121. That participant count's slowing down just a little bit. So we'll give it another minute and then we'll get going here. But for those of you that are coming in, oh, look at that. We got Lansing, Michigan, New Jersey, Edmonton, Canada. We're well represented in Canada today. I love seeing our friends from the north. San Diego.
Patty's got to feel good about that Canada thing, Patty. Congrats. Well represented.
Phoenix, Orlando, Durham, North Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, Philadelphia, West Gray, Ontario, Leawood, Kansas, Asheville, Atlanta, Alberta. All right. Hey, for those of you just joining, my name is Jeremiah Taylor. I'm the Vice President of Real Estate Mortgage here at Ojo Labs. Thank you for joining us for our monthly masterclass. It's 12:04. As soon as we hit 12:05, we're going to get going. From here till there, feel free to drop where you are signing in from in the Q&A. I see Austin, Texas, Sault Ste. Marie, Ontario, Canada. I'm sure I probably butchered that. Patty, how bad did I butcher that?
It's Sault Ste. Marie.
Sault Ste. Marie. See, I know every time I talk to my friends up north, I know that I'm just going to Texas up everything, which if you don't know, a fun fact about Texas is we like to take everything from every language and pronounce it incorrectly here in Texas. It's something we're quite good at. All right, we're at 12:05. Thanks, everybody. Final time. I'm Jeremiah Taylor, Vice President of Real Estate Mortgage here at Ojo Lab. I'm going to be your co-facilitator for this month's masterclass. We have an amazing guest for you here. But before I introduce Mr. Steve de Laveaga, I want to turn it over to our Chief Real Estate Officer, Chris Heller, to share some thoughts with us. So Chris, you're up.
Hey, thanks everybody for taking time out of your day to join us. The reason we do these is twofold. Number one, we appreciate our partnership with each and every one of you. Secondly, we want to provide as much value as possible. Now, some of you may be saying, hey, just send me more leads, send me more listings. That's how you can provide me more value. We know that. In addition to that, though, in this changing market, we want to best set you up to succeed, whether it's with the Ojo consumers we introduce you to or any consumer that you're working with. That's why we do these. Hope you enjoy this one. And by the way, Steve, you're going to have to teach us all the correct way to pronounce your last name. Because I know I pronounce it the way Jeremiah does, and I know that's wrong. So anyways, I will turn it back over to Jeremiah, and you can bring on Steve.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And Steve, I'll just exclude your last name this time so that I don't butcher it a second time. But for those of you that don't know Steve, you're about to know Steve, and I would advocate that your life's going to get a little bit better by knowing Steve. He's a great guy. He's a good human, a trusted partner of us here at Ojo, and I'm excited to have you. So I'll start by saying thank you. But here's what you need to know about Steve. Steve was awarded the esteemed position of one of the top 100 most influential individuals in the real estate space by Top 100 magazine. Steve was previously a senior vice president and national sales manager for Fidelity National Title. I don't know if you've ever heard of them. They're kind of a big deal in our real estate space. Steve's group managed over 3,100 sales executives. I understand that got as high as 3,600. And most recently, Steve is the CEO and founder of Rise Coaching and Consulting Company. Now, if you don't know about the Rise program, Rise specializes in helping top agents and teams maximize and optimize their lead conversion. And Rise's Speed to Lead program is the nation's largest lead conversion engine. Members of Steve's Speed to Lead, on average, add 8 additional closings a year to their business. Rise is the most ROI-focused sales coaching and consulting platform in the real estate space, full stop. With that, I will stop. I'll turn it over to our friend Steve. And for the next 40, 45 minutes, Steve's going to be your guy. If you have any questions, please use the Q&A option at the bottom of Zoom. Steve will probably answer those here towards the end. And get your notepads out because I have a feeling we're about to learn some things.
Jeremiah, thank you very much. That was very kind. I will just say that I have been in this space for a long time, and I'm proud to say I was partnered with Jeremiah and Chris the first month that they launched the program when they were delivering leads to agents. And we are so lucky on this call and in this Ojo ecosystem, we have real estate people that are focused on helping other real estate people give the consumer a world-class experience. That does not happen all the time. As a lot of you know, there's new people coming to this space every day. A lot of them are technical, no real estate background. The fact we get to work with Chris Heller and Jeremiah Taylor is a huge, huge benefit because they think like we do. They understand some of our challenges and frustrations, and they do a great job. And so for me, I love that I can have a conversation with normal real estate, intellectual IQ humans, and we can move into how we help the consumer experience. We do run the largest agnostic conversion engine in the United States. We have 855 accounts. That is, most of those are elite teams. Sometimes they're an elite brokerage and or market center and or, kind of a franchise. But for the most part, they're run just like team businesses, leads, accountability, tracking, et cetera. What we did at Rise is we created partnerships with 11 of the largest aggregators in the United States. We went out and tried to understand their algorithm and data science for choosing agents and why. What we found was a lot of them went to the brokerages and they say to the broker, hey, we want to work with you. And the broker wouldn't send them people like you guys on the phone. They'd send them the agents that were brand new or 50-50 or who weren't focused on leads because they were new at it because they wanted to get a better split. That model does not work for the consumer. Quite frankly, it doesn't work for the aggregator because they're only paid when you and I are paid, which is when something closes. I went the other way almost 3 years ago now. I went directly to the top teams and I said, let me work with you on this. And in the beginning, what I loved again about Ojo is they wanted teams from the beginning. A lot of aggregators didn't want to work with the teams. Ojo did. And because of that, more and more you're seeing the better agents are winning more and more. We had our best month ever with Ojo. We were sent 27,000 alerts last month. For context, our firm generated over 150,000 warm connections. So Ojo being one of our biggest partners, we had our best month because now we're seeing the better agents now getting more and more at bats. And that's going to happen all the time, guys. This is a feed the strong, starve the weak out model. That's what every model is moving to. They all want to pay for success. It's not a referral fee. It's very different. It's a success fee. and it's based on success. So for us, that teaching of those sciences, again, it varies slightly by each aggregator. Each aggregator has their little bit of what they need or don't need, et cetera. What I love about Ojo is they're transparent about what they look for, and then we can teach it, train it, and we do a best practice call. We do 4 a week. That's 16 a month. I do a national mastermind series. Chris and I, he's been a guest of ours, so is Jeremiah. They're focused on making sure that we keep putting in front of our agents an ecosystem, the best in class sciences and algorithms to be successful. Okay. I'm curious if we can share my screen, that would be helpful if we can do that. Is that possible? Can you do that?
You should be able to click the share button in Zoom, Steve.
Okay, let's try that and make sure that works perfectly. Hold on. Poor Carolyn, she's like, oh, share screen. Okay, good. All right. Share. Boom. Okay. So for us, this is kind of how we start and teach. You guys seeing it okay or no?
Yep, looks great.
Okay, good. There are 5 basic pillars that we know if our agents do these 5 things well, no doubt they have success. That's why we close on average 7.9 transactions per agent, not per account, per agent. We've got some teams, Spring Benson's closed over 200 transactions. Stephen Bottino closed over 250 transactions. They've got 8, 10, 12, 15 agents in the program with us. There are 5 pillars. First and foremost, you have to understand the consumer does not work with the best agent they talk with or the smartest or the most experienced. They work with the first agent they talk with 72% of the time. Did you hear what I said? So first and foremost, I don't care how smart you are, I don't care about your ABR, CRI, GRS, all this stuff. The consumer doesn't care either. 72% of the time, the first realtor they have a 2-way conversation with in this game, they end up working with because they want speed above all else. Now, in that speed, that's how you win an alert. That's how you get engaged. That's how you create an at-bat. Now, once you do that, you've got to build some rapport in that 5-minute time frame that you have them, 3 to 5 minutes. You're looking for common ground, rapport, and you're looking to demonstrate that you are indeed the local knowledge market expert. And you have to be able to articulate that inside 3 minutes because that consumer now knows they're being transferred to the local agent. And remember, not everyone has a great picture of what a realtor is in their mind, right? So your job is to make sure you understand and you can convey to them very quickly, hey, I'm a local subject matter expert. I've been doing this a long time. I know how to save you time and make you money. That's got to come across in your 3 to 5 minutes as you find common ground, okay? So, and you can do that without giving them your resume or talking about them. Do that by asking questions. Why is that area important to you? Great. Okay, are schools important to you? Great. If you only looked in that area so far, I might broaden that search a little bit. We got opportunity. Well, let me do this. Let me get back to you in the next 3 to 5 minutes while I pull the other properties in that area that may not be listed yet, but are in my ecosystem of opportunity. Those are things that connect to the consumer. At the end of the day, you're wanting to make sure when you talk to that consumer, market intel, report, and then please, and it's getting easier now because things aren't selling in hours, don't tell the consumer they're wrong in your first conversation. Well, that home's already sold. None of our agents do that. ALM, appointment, location, motivation. They're, oh, great, you want to see the house? Yep, what time can you do it today at 2 or 4? Knowing it may be sold, but when you meet them out there and you say, listen, looks like this is already under contract, but I brought 5 more in the area that suit your criteria. Would you like to go look at a couple of those now? That's how you build rapport. So first and foremost, you got to have speed, rapport, market intel. Then the biggest fear that Jeremiah and Chris have is they send you an alert, you win the alert, and then they hear nothing for 3, 5, 7, 10 days. Drives people crazy. So we teach in our world, you make a minimum of 2 and up to 4 notes a week with regards to the lead. And you have to make those notes in the communication pathway that Ojo creates. So for Ojo, they've got an online app. They want to know, yep, reach back out to Jeremiah, left voicemail Tuesday, 10 a.m. regarding property search. We'll reach back out 4 o'clock. Texted at 4 o'clock, did not get a response. We'll follow up again the next morning. These are things they want to know are actively being worked. The algorithm likes that. The data science built into this said if you're communicating consistently, we're going to give you more at-bats. Nothing's worse than you win an alert, and then my agents used to say, well, I've called them 2 or 3 times, they never called me back, but you didn't put it in the notes. You didn't use the communication path, so no one cares. No one even knows it's done. So we teach this religiously, and again, the people that follow it, shocking, get more leads. This whole job is to create more at-bats, which you give a better consumer experience. That's why this is itemized this way. Now I'm making notes 2 to 3 a week. I'm using the communication path that Ojo has asked. Then I'm going to make sure my settings are optimized. Enough with, I only want to do homes in this little area or this little area. As some of you have probably felt, the world is going to get tougher in real estate. Period. End of story. I've been through 4 of these, and we're not even close yet. We're still in a very good seller's market. Now it's a declining seller's market, but it's still very much a seller's market. Rates are going to go up at least 2 more times before the end of the year. We are going to head into a tougher economic time frame. That's going to happen. All those things are clear. So we know real estate is going to get harder. It doesn't matter. Whatever the market of the moment is, I know for my clients, I tell them this is a great opportunity because now you're going to see agents that go get jobs at Home Depot and Lowe's and get out of the business. Well, great. This is, you capture mind share and market share in this time frame right now. Okay. So make sure your settings are wide, optimized. Take in as much as you can so you can get 2 or 3 conversions. I don't care if it's a lease, a rent, it doesn't matter. A small house, it doesn't matter. Conversion leads to additional opportunity immediately in this process. And then lastly, you got to have a patient conversion mindset. Stop wanting the 800,000 listing lead day one. We tell every agent on the phone here, I'm hoping you guys are movie buffs. I love movies. I hope you've seen Shawshank Redemption, one of the greatest movies ever done, by the way. I tell our agents for the first 90 days, you're all Andy Dufresne crawling through the poop pipe to get out of Shawshank. That's your first 90 days. You're taking leads that are small, tiny, 30 miles away, doesn't matter. But after 90 days, you've got a couple conversions, you're following the process. Now you're all of a sudden, you're getting a listing lead, a $600,000 cash buyer. Once Andy got to the river, he was out. Then he got to Mexico because they want Neo, and he's sitting in blue ocean. That's what happens when you go through the process. But if your mindset's not patient conversion, that's a challenge. These are our 5 pillars of success. Now we've got some hands raised, so let me go ahead and go back and let's look at what our questions are. All right, go ahead. Hands raised. Go ahead. Who's got a question?
Let's see. Hey, for those of you that have your hand raised, the best thing to do is pop open that Q&A chat box on the bottom and throw your question there. I do see one, Steve. If the home is sold, and there's one similar to set meeting, so I guess this is more of a tip than a question. If the home is sold and there's one similar to it, set the meeting place at the active one instead of the sold one.
Good idea too. Just don't tell the consumer on the phone the first 30 seconds, oh, that's already sold, that doesn't work.
Yep.
Then
then there is a question here from Jennifer. What did you say that you tell leads when a home is already sold, but you have other houses to show?
Good. Our agents are all taught to be gathering off-market opportunities, whether it's in their brokerage or their team, et cetera. So they'll say things, and this is our script that we work on again in our program. Hey, Jeremiah, listen, I've got a number of off-market opportunities that our realtors are gathering that are coming soon in our brokerage, et cetera. I'm going to look through that database as well. So when we meet out there at the property, I'm going to make sure you've got everything that may be available to you, even some that aren't on the MLS today. So now that person knows, wow, you've got access to things that I don't. That's great. I'd like to hear that. And you all have, either your brokerage or a large team, you all have stuff that are in process of being listed that aren't quite listed yet. That's part of the process.
Yep, that's amazing. All right, next question up. So Steve, you said 3 things: appointment, motivation, and what was the third thing?
So appointment first. All of our folks first. Do not talk the consumer out of meeting. Don't go, are you pre-qualified? Do you have a job? None of that's good for building rapport. You say, great, when do you want to meet? I can do it at 1:30 or 3:30. Appointment. Second, location. What that location? Okay, great. Is that a house you like, or the area you like, or why? Because you want to know why that location. Might be it was the first one they looked at and they like the look of it. Might be they want to live there for the schools. Might be they love hiking and it's near hiking trails. Because now you understand location. Great. You'll know the market better than they will. Then thirdly, motivation. So appointment first, then we ask why location. Then we get there, build rapport, and say, listen, is this are you guys have to move right now? Is it a life event? Are we being transferred, or is it time frame? Let me know. I want to work on your time frame, Mr. Consumer. By the way, if that lead went out there and said, you know what, we're just out here looking, we're not moving for another year, is that a bad lead? No, that's a future recurring cash opportunity. It's a future buyer. It's also a future seller, because now you're thinking, well, you're going to be selling where you are. Even if they're not from the area, you know an agent there who can help them too. So they're not bad leads because they have time frames. People start looking at cruises and vacations 6 months out. Houses sometimes are 12 to 18 months out. Still, a future buyer or future seller is not a bad lead. It just means it's going to be part of your recurring revenue over the next year, year and a half. That's how our realtors think about it. ALM is appointment, location, motivation.
Amazing. And I love that you said recurring revenue. It's special, right? Because what we know is the top agents have a long-term mindset, right? They always look for now business, but they know that they're going to be around a year, 2 years, 3 years from now. And so they're always building that pipeline for the future. It's amazing. Agent Guzman asks, can you reiterate the communication pathway pillar?
Great. So this is what's important. Let's take Jeremiah and Chris, right? So Jay, you guys have a way that you want to be updated once the leads won, right? And it's your online communication pathway. It's your log into your website. You went online. We're working on an app too, aren't we, Jeremiah, at the time, right? Yeah, we're working on it. We'll get there. But right now, it's a lot. So we teach our people, you making a note in your realtor CRM doesn't help Jeremiah. He doesn't have access to that. He didn't know what happened. His team doesn't know what happened, and the algorithm doesn't know what happened. So after you make a note in your CRM, either A, you, or B, one of your VA virtual assistants, go into Jeremiah's pathway and update it there too. So Ojo always knows exactly what's happening with the lead. By the way, think about common sense. If you send a referral over and the agent says, great, love it, thank you, I'm meeting your people tomorrow, that's great. And then 9 days go by and you don't hear anything, aren't you like, hey, Steve, how'd it go? Did you meet with them? Did they like it? What's going on? You want to know too. They're the exact same way. The more communication they get through their pathway, the more they know you're paying attention. And then your optimized settings. Do you use the snooze and do not disturb button? Our people use it every day. You don't just have it open all the time. When you are prospecting, hopefully in the morning, from time between 7 and 10 a.m., it should be on and open. Then when you're in appointments or doing work, put it on snooze or do not disturb. And then when you come back on, put it on. The system actually will reward you because it sees you paying attention. So just like you would in your business, don't leave it open all the time and missing alerts. When you're taking leads, take them. When you're not, don't.
Yeah, and Steve, that's great advice, because the way that Ojo assigns leads and the way that our algorithm listens to performance happens in real time. So as soon as you make progress with a customer, you should go straight away into the Ojo agent tools, make those updates, and let us know, because that tells us, hey, this agent's plugged in, they're engaged. And the more frequently you do that, the more opportunities you're going to get, and the better those opportunities are going to match with what you're looking for.
100%. Malik is asking about asking to sign a buyer broker agreement, I believe. Is that what that is?
Yep, you got it.
Malik, I would just ask this, and this is something we teach from the beginning. I would be careful about asking a question your relationship does not yet justify. Meaning, if you and I went on a date, Malika, and I was like, man, that was amazing. How about we just get married? You ready? You might want to date more, get to know me, my family, whatever. I'm always careful. Once you add value, then make sure your relationship earns that right to say, listen, if we're going to continue forward, here's what I need to do to make sure I'm doing my job correctly. We're going to need a buyer broker because I'm going to invest time and hours and my knowledge. I've been doing this 10 years. I spent over $1 million in technology and training for myself. I'm going to need da-da-da. Make sure you ask a question you've earned the right to. If you ask it early, lots of times people won't.
Yeah, and Steve, to build on what you said, I think that's a change in the industry, right? 15 years ago, people had to talk to an agent to go see property. And so a lot of agents would put up this stonewall gate of like, well, you need to get pre-qualified, you got to sign this thing, you got to do this. And some agents haven't realized that the times have changed. Consumers really have more power and more ability to do their own research. And if you continue to do those things, today's consumer will just find another agent.
100%. Let's be clear, they don't need us anymore for information. They got information at their fingertips aplenty. What they need us for is our knowledge and advice of the locality they're living. And if you can demonstrate that in the first 3 to 5 minutes, you just became very valuable to them. Because I'm telling you, when I'm going to make a $700,000 purchase, I want to know, are these good schools or not? I want to know, what has the resale been like here in the last 3, 5, 7, 10 years? I want to know, is this good from a crime perspective? I've got young children. My wife takes the bus, comes back, whatever it might be. Zillow, Open Door, everybody's figured it out. You can't replace the agent. They all tried and they can't do it. Ojo, because they have Jeremiah and Chris and they're smart, we want to get the agent as much information as possible, as fast as possible, so they can give a better experience to the consumer. That's the key. There was a good one in the chat earlier that said, I've closed 3 deals that were 3 to 5 years old. Smart.
Yeah.
The best lead you got is the one you got 9 months ago, not the one you got yesterday generally.
Yep, 100% agree. I see 2 Ojo specific questions. Steve, I'll field those. When a lead is transferred from the Ojo contact center, our contact center rep will let you know if the property is active or pending. They do not communicate that to the client. They just give you a heads up. That was a piece of feedback we got from agents that you want to know. So again, they don't tell the customer. And then there's a question/comment about it would be uberly convenient and helpful to be able to snooze for an hour or 2 hours, like predetermined time increments. That is quickly bubbling up to the top of our feature requests. So kind of like the app, we know that those things are in demand. Hey, Steve, we can see your screen, by the way, just so you know.
I know. I'm trying to figure out how to not do that.
Oh, I gotcha. So just like the app and other things, we prioritize these things, and we've heard you. We know that that's something agents want, and at some point in the future, it'll definitely get handled. David says, all right, hang on, let me go to Jennifer. Jennifer says, someone from Ojo told me it was better to wait before initially updating a new lead to make sure you're working with them versus updating and then releasing back. I would agree with that. The reason is this: if we make a bad match, right? Let's say you serve Miami, Arizona, and we send you a lead in Miami, Florida, and you send that lead back to us. You go, guys, you got the wrong Miami. We don't penalize you for that. You just tell us it's the wrong geography, et cetera. If you accept that lead, confirm it, say like, I got them, I'm working with them, and then you realize a few days later, oh, wait a minute, oops, wrong Miami, that can potentially count against you. So you always want to make sure that like you have that initial triage conversation, figure out, is this somebody that I can help, before you answer the question of, yes, this is somebody that I can help.
You notice what he's saying, guys, time kills all deals. When you don't respond with intelligence quickly, it hurts everything because the consumer does not want to wait on things. That's why everything's about speed. So if something's not right, the faster you engage it, the better, right?
Yep.
Let's talk a little bit about how many of you, just in the chat or in the questions, how many of you are running a team where you have 3 or more agents in your team? We just see a quick show of hands so I can make sure I know who we're talking to there. 20 agents, got it. Okay, good. Picking your agent in this program matters, okay? And remember, agents very rarely are good at anything for a sustained period of time. So don't be afraid to toggle agents in and out, because what happens is they come in, they're hungry. I'll do whatever you say, Jeremiah. I'm on every lead. I'll do it. For 4 months, they're amazing. Then what happens? They close T2, get 4 more under contract. Now all of a sudden they're missing leads because they're more focused on trying to get these closed. They want the money. That's all fine. We teach our team leaders to toggle people in and out. We have a mandatory weekly 15-minute huddle every Friday, 8:15 a.m., where our team leaders and the agents in their team meet 8:15. And they go over where they are. They pull up Ojo. We're looking at it. Their agent goes out and tells them anything outstanding. So every week that agent has to be accountable for what they're doing. And sometimes you get an honest agent that goes, oh my gosh, I'm feeling overwhelmed. We're like, great. Put yourself on do not disturb for a couple weeks while you get caught up. What you can't do is continue to be bad at it while you're babysitting transactional deals, and then you fall off the algorithm. A long illness is generally a sure death. So the longer you're bad at it, then you hurt the whole thing. You got to start all over again and reboot. It doesn't work. So we teach our leaders, tell an agent, hey, this is great. You had a life event. You've got 4 closings. You're having stress. Put it on do not disturb. Let's get through these conversions. Then when you come back on, be mentally ready to go do what you got to do. That's part of leadership. If you let them continue to push a bad position, it is your problem and will be your fault as a leader because you'll hurt lead flow. Thoughts, Jeremiah?
Yeah, no, I think that's spot on. And the teams and agents that are the most successful in our program do exactly what you just described. One of the things to be clear on is that we also look at the team as an aggregate. And there are plenty of times where team leaders don't do a good job managing the agents on their team, and they have 1 or 2 agents that become a boat anchor for the remainder of their team. Look at, if 1 agent on your team closes a transaction and doesn't pay Ojo, we block every agent on your team. If 1 agent on your team gets out of compliance with 2, 3, 4 or more referrals, and they're not giving us the status updates, we block every agent on your team. The assumption here is that you as the team leader are doing part of the job that Ojo would typically do, which is holding your team accountable and ensuring that we get results and we are succeeding with and through you. And so you need to make sure that you're doing what Steve is telling you to do and looking at your agent dashboard and your team dashboard.
The single biggest thing that's going to happen for you is having an accountability dashboard, period, right? If you don't have that, it's a nightmare for you, right? Now, at Rise, I'm going to give you an example. This is what we show them every single month, and then every week they can ask for the audit anytime they want to. So I'll just come back to the screen a sec, and I'll show you guys what the scorecard, because if you don't have a scorecard, guys, of your own team, it's like having a map that you're lost in. That doesn't work great, okay? So I'm going to share the screen again. Here we go. Share. Pull this up. So now you guys see the scoreboard. So we literally track, we give them points for closings. We track click to claim times. We track percentages. We track 30-day alerts sent, what you clicked on. And then we rate you all with the point total so you can never hide in this deal, ever. Okay? So as you guys think about it, if you're not meeting at least once a week for 15 minutes, you put yourself in harm's way. And to Jeremiah's point, if you caught this, this is key. 4 agents in the program, 1 agent being awful, that hurts everyone's lead flow. That's why the leader, the person in charge, has to be somebody who's willing to be what I call the accountability lead for the account. And it might not be you. You might allocate an agent or a sales manager or whoever, but somebody has to own the accountability to say, you're in, you're out. My teams toggle people in every single month. There's new people coming in and out. They don't keep the same people. Because you have one bad week, we say you have a week to correct it. Oh, I got busy. I couldn't update that week. I forgot that. Well, I always say excuses or results. You don't get both. So let me know what you want. The reality is it didn't work. That's it. They're no longer in the game. Now I'm going to bring somebody new in, to the point that most people say before you get any other leads from my company, you have to close 3 Ojo referrals before you get another lead. And that will also help you get agents that are either going to pay attention or move up and get better or move out. You don't care which one it is. You just can't have them stay bad for very long. And the reality is, and I don't know if Ojo's doing this, this is their thing. Most of my aggregators right now are moving out the agents who haven't been very good. They're looking for the best agents now, pure and simple. They're going to give them more at-bats. So the better you get, the more you get. The less well you do, the less you're going to get. And this market's going to get tougher again. So market share is what we want right now over mind share.
Yep. Maggie asked a question, and it's tangential to what Danielle was asking. Maggie, so if you email into support, you ask to add team members today. In almost every market across the country, we have far more demand for agents wanting to join the network than we currently have referrals to feed them. And so we have generally either paused or slowed down net new team additions. Now, that being said, if you have agents on your team today that are underperforming and you want to swap them out, we absolutely are doing that today. And so if you have questions or you run into problems, I put my email in the chat. You can email me. But if you just go straight through the support@ojolabs.com channel, you should be able to make team substitutions without any problem. We're just paused on team additions until our lead volumes increase and warrant adding more people. Danielle's question is slightly different, which is, if I win a lead as a team leader, can I hand that off to agents on my team? And the answer is yes, people do this every day within our platform. What we ask is that if you have agents on your team that are working Ojo leads, we need to get them onboarded so we can see who they are and what they're doing. Because otherwise what ends up happening is everything sits in your bucket, and we're going to think there's only one agent there, and you're going to, even if you're doing a great job, you're only going to get the lead volume for that one agent. So if you have multiple agents on your team, you're going to want to get them onboarded, especially if they're working Ojo leads, because then when you perform really well, they will get an appropriate amount of volume for multiple agents, i.e. more than an individual agent.
Well, sir, there's a great question in the chat from David, by the way, who drilling down that initial call. And David makes a great point. If we lose them on that initial call, they use another agent, no one makes any money. And believe me when I say this, 70+% of your leads are already looking on other platforms as well as Ojo. Okay. So the key is our agents almost treat like they're an extension, and they've got their 30-second thought track that we teach, which is, hey, listen, Ojo vets thousands of agents across this entire network. The great thing is I was lucky enough to be part of the Ojo Extended Network. And there's only very few of us that do this because you have to have market intelligence, local knowledge, have a certain close amount of volume, and I'm able to have all of that plus. So I'm going to make sure you get the best consumer experience for you and your family. Now, and then you go into what they want to look at, right? So you really want to act like you're an extension of Ojo because they built some rapport there. They've talked to somebody, they've searched another platform, and now they're coming to you. You don't want to act like you're totally separate entities. It doesn't help create any rapport or a higher conversion. Okay. And there's another good chat, Jeremiah, which is true. Any idea when we're going to be able to snooze in 2 or 3 hour increments as opposed to 1 day at a time?
It's in our backlog of feature requests, and I think it's one of the more upvoted things. I can't give you a specific date on when it's going to get built, but I know I've seen that one enough times to know it's at or near the top.
Jeremiah, what everyone should know, though, even if you snooze it for a day, you can unsnooze it in 2 hours. So that functionality is there, it just doesn't show you that.
So you could basically do 2 hours at a time. You just have to put a day, then come in, unsnooze, and you're back on.
Correct.
Cool. That's excellent. Yeah. I like that.
There's a great question from Lewis, and I apologize, Lewis, if I mispronounced your name. If I may ask, what is your conversion rate for the rolling 12 months? I want to have a benchmark. When people ask that, what I usually hear is, what's your average? And I don't like talking about average because average is the best of the worst and the worst of the best. If you look at the top 500 agents in our network, that have received at least 25 referrals, right? So they've got a fair volume of referrals. Their conversion rate is just over 7%, meaning that for every 10 consumers we introduce them to, they're going to show houses to typically 3 of them, and they're going to sell a house to 1 of them. The other thing to know is, on average, if an agent receives 23 referrals from us, they have a closing within their first 23 referrals. So what that means is, if you look at every agent in Ojo that's received 23 or more referrals, something like 83% of them had a closing out of one of those first 23. And so it is like, I think from a lead quality perspective, these are a lot like open house leads. They are like real live humans walking in. They're interested in real estate. They want to talk to you. The great news is you don't have to set up your signs, buy Costco cookies, or shake hands with anybody, because we do the front end sifting for you. You just got to answer the phone when we call.
As someone who has 13 aggregators, your quality is better than most. We're a little over 11% with you in terms of two-way conversation to close. And it's because you guys vet a little bit deeper, which I think comes from your real estate background, to be honest. You and Chris both knowing we don't need more leads to our agents. We need better leads to the agents, because it's all about, the only thing we all have the same amount of and never enough of is time. So the better lead, I'd rather have 3 great leads than have 25 maybes, because the math just doesn't work for qualifying.
Yeah, and there's Steve, to build on that, there's 2 things. We're always testing and learning at Ojo, and I'll give you all some inside baseball on something we're working on now. We do a lot of like big data, machine learning, AI powered investigation, if you will, of our consumers. And what we see is that for every consumer that transacts, there's 4 or 5 that transact, 1 through Ojo, then 4 or 5 not through Ojo, right? They're using your competitors, they're using somebody else. And what we see a lot of times with these people is that the folks with more education, more financial certainty, more purchasing power, guess what? They don't like to answer questions about creditworthiness, purchasing power, and financial savviness. And so we are working very hard in our data models. And when you see maybe things coming a little slower with apps and things like that, it's because we're investing there to figure out who are those customers on the front end, match them using big data, and ask them the appropriate screening questions. Because unfortunately, if you ask somebody if their credit is fair, good, or excellent, irrespective of what it is, guess what the answer is most of the time?
Excellent, baby.
Because I want to make it through your freaking vetting process. So we're trying to leverage data and learn so that we can deliver even higher quality intros while also reducing friction for consumers. And I think you should see quality go up in the coming months even more than it already is.
Well, you guys, everybody needs to see this. You're going to see less leads, better quality. You're also going to see the aggregators have all figured out more agents don't mean more closings. Better agents mean more closings. So market share should be all you're talking about to your teams for the next 12 months, period, the end. Because you're going to see less deals, but you're going to see better entities close more transactions. And when you grow market share and make a little more or about the same money, then 2 years later, you wake up and you've got this large share of the market and the market suits back up. This is where wealth is made, in market share markets like the one we're going into.
Yep, 100% agree. There's a few questions in Q&A I'm going to rattle through. One is, does an agent need to be on your team in order to refer the lead? The answer is yes. If you are going to refer the lead, they need to be on your team. You can't transfer between agents if they're not on your team. If you're trying to refer the lead to somebody not on your team, you should do it by emailing support@ojolabs.com. We'll transfer it to their account and facilitate that for you. Next one up, if they're also on Ojo, I want a lead yesterday that my agent also tried to get, but it's better for her. So is there a way to transfer it to her on the platform? What I just said, email support@ojolabs. We'll make that happen for you. There's a question about matching algorithm and price points. The reality is, look, y'all, the market has changed. I mean, Google is telling us that search volume for homes for sale across North America is down 15 to 18%, full stop. So what that's going to mean is that within your individual markets, volume, lead mix, meaning the price point mix, preparedness, all that stuff is very much in flux. We are so blessed at Ojo to have an amazing search engine marketing and optimization team that even though the market is off 15 to 18%, our volumes are still growing year over year. They're not growing as fast as we'd like them to, but we're still pacing 350 to 360 million people being on our website this year, which is the top of the funnel for the activities for somebody like you. Michelle is saying, you haven't been able to unsnooze. Please email support at Ojo Labs on that one, because that is not an expected thing. You should be able to unsnooze. Seller leads. I think this is an important one to hit on. And Steve, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yeah.
At Ojo, we are developing some seller specific campaigns. Stay tuned. It's coming. We realize the value of seller leads. There's some things we've tested in a few markets. At the same time, what we know is 1 in every 4 plus or minus referrals that we send has a home to sell. There are so many seller leads in the leads that we're sending out today. We're doing things internally to try and optimize for collecting that info. But like I said earlier, if a consumer's asking a question about a house and we get them on the phone, and we start asking them all these other questions about financial readiness and the house they need to sell and everything else, we're adding friction to that rapport and making your job harder. So this is where we really have to lean into you all and your relationships, and we'll continue to improve our side. Curious to hear your thoughts, Steve.
First of all, Jeremiah, we teach every lead's a seller lead. Everybody, for the most part, has to do something with another property. Now, if they don't, because they're coming out of renting, great. You have other friends that are also renting. Everybody, we on average get a multiple transaction almost 53% of the time in Rise, because we teach them that they have something on the other side, whether it be referral, whether it be a house to sell, whether it be I'm coming out of this financial issue or that. It doesn't matter. Every lead you should think of as your real estate consumer for life. How am I going to engage that lead such that I can help them through this process? If you come from a place of help, a place of abundance, I'm going to help you with this. Believe me, they feel it and they want to work with you. I already have my listing agent. Great. Again, if I can help in any way, I do a free equity home assessment for all of my clients, whether it's on the buy or sell side. What's an equity home assessment? Well, let's make sure we know what your equity net is based on what the market is. My people like to know that. Happy to do that for you. No obligation. We use these words in every consultation. It's free, confidential, and there is no obligation. Know what happens when you say that? What's the consumer do? Okay, so there's no obligation? No, sir. I provide this for all folks that I'm working with. If you and I are engaged on the buy side, happy to do it for you. It's free, confidential, no obligation. Please use your current agent. Happy to provide value. And then shut up, because they tend to find their way back to you, because not everything's perfect on the other side generally. But yes, over 50% of the time, we generate at least a referral or transaction in the next 90 days.
Love it. I love it. And that is, and I think, Steve, the thing where my brain went as you were talking is taking my Ojo hat off and putting my agent team owner hat on. The reason to be a part of all of these referral programs is not for the referral program. It's for all the referrals you'll get from the referrals you got from the referral program. Because mind you, we don't take a referral fee when the person that we refer you to refers their friends, family, and other folks. And you have to really be in that mindset of cultivating referrals from these customers, finding the subsequent business and staying with them.
It's the reality of what we're looking at, guys, going forward. Okay, you're building a data bank, not a database. A data bank is a series of recurring revenue for future buyers and sellers. That's what you should be building, and that's why you have aggregator partners.
Yep. There's a really good question. One more time, Steve. Sorry.
I'm just conscious of your time. I know we've got time-wise, so you let me know.
Yeah, no, we're doing good. Let me answer the Spanish question, just address Spanish. For those of you that don't know, we do have a call center of full Spanish-speaking reps, a full Spanish-speaking concierge team. And we have the inverse problem in a lot of places that we have in English. We have a tremendous amount of OSN demand from agents for English speaking leads. And then on the other side, we have quite a few Spanish speaking customers, and we don't have enough Spanish speaking agents. So if you speak Spanish or you have agents on your team that speak Spanish, let us know. Email support at Ojo, go in your agent tools and update that. When you do that though, be prepared to know that that's going to mean you will probably receive a majority Spanish speaking leads by doing that. And so just be prepared, know that it is a way to get your foot in the door with the network and show us what you can do from a conversion standpoint, because there is more opportunity, on the Spanish speaking side. The one other thing before I ask you for a parting thought, Steve, is if you all haven't seen the new functionality that we developed in the last 2 months called Click to Connect, that's an important piece of functionality. You should pay attention to that. And David, yeah, what you're calling out there, if you are saying you speak Spanish in the app, and then we're trying to send you transfers of people that speak Spanish, but you don't actually speak Spanish, correct. They will not pass you the client that doesn't speak the same language as you. So what you should do is onboard the agent on your team that speaks Spanish so that they can get the Spanish speaking transfer. But back to Click to Connect. When you go into your Ojo agent tools, you'll see that for some clients, it's not on every client, you'll be able to click to connect. And it works just like a multi-line dialer, where you click to connect, it's going to call you first, you're going to hang out and wait, and it's going to ring out to the customer. Trust me when I say that is important signal that our teams are looking for. And so if we send you a lead, and that is a cold transfer, meaning that it's somebody that we couldn't warm transfer them for whatever reason, they were busy, you weren't available, and you win it as an SMS, make sure you use that technology, because we're listening for that, we're watching for that. We are not listening to the calls, but we're listening to the signal that you're clicking the button and using the technology. And that's an important thing for us. Steve, why don't you bring us home with some parting thoughts? We'll field a couple final questions and get out of here.
I will say this, that I think that I love the market we're going into. A lot of us made our bones when things got tougher, and things are going to get tougher. It's good. It doesn't matter what the market does. It matters what you do. And action eliminates fear. We are running the largest real estate event that's agnostic in the US in Las Vegas, October 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, called Crystal Ball Summit. Chris Heller's a speaker of ours. I have John Cheplack, Gary Keller, Renee Rodriguez, and 34 of the largest agents in the United States on stage from 19 different companies. Every agent speaking does 200 million or more in volume. We'd love you to look at being our guest. We're about 82% sold out. It will be an unbelievable opportunity. I've put it in the chat so you guys can see it. I know Carolyn put it in the chat earlier. It's crystalballsummit.com. So at the end of the day, it is going to be one of the, it's just nugget rich. Everybody that attends, you have to attend to get it. You're going to get the updates from every single session, how you hire, how you generate, how you do X, Y, Z, et cetera. So the reality is that's an important piece. And for you guys' perspective, we'd love to have you involved if you'd like to come.
Awesome. Well, I know that today's been super valuable for me. I always love to hear you talk, Steve. And the thing that I love the most is you give the plain truth to the agents. You teach them how to succeed. You're giving them the tips that they need to really optimize for success with not just the Ojo program, but all the programs. So for those of you that have spent your time with us today, I hope this was a great investment of your time. I truly believe it was. This is being recorded. It will get sent out afterwards, usually give us a day or two. But as we sign off here, please take a minute to go and chat, say thank you to Steve and the team at Rise. If you haven't checked them out at the Crystal Ball Summit, I posted it in a chat. Feel free to click on that, sign up, register for their programs. We know that the agents in coaching are more effective than the agents that are trying to do it their own. That is data that we see every day at Ojo. And if you have any questions or follow on or things you didn't feel comfortable asking, you can always email us, support@ojolabs.com. or I put my personal email in there. It's jtaylor@dojolabs.com. We're happy to be here and to host this for you. And please stay connected with us, because we will do more of these master classes. We will drive more great content. And I just saw Mr. Heller come off on video, and I think it sounds like he's going to close us out with a parting thought.
Actually, I just came on video to watch and wave goodbye. But Steve, thank you very much. Jeremiah, as usual, great job. And thank you guys, and thank you everybody for taking time out of your day. We hope you got lots of value out of this. Put the things into action that were shared with you today. And if you do, we all win. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.